You guys know when we go adventuring in the Jeep and in the RV, we like to rough it.
Is that true? Which is why we were so excited when Anker asked us to test the Anker Solix C1000.
Yeah, this is a portable solar generator, and you guys know how much we love these things. But it is specifically marketed, they're building this model specifically for adventurers and overlanders.
So far, we're really impressed with everything we've put this through. And today we're gonna show you some of those things.
We're gonna put it to the test. We'll talk about different scenarios, how you can use it in overlanding and adventuring. And then we've got a couple of really interesting things to tell you about. One is their ambassador program, which you can sign up for today. And then also, we're gonna be camping with with Anker at an expo. You're invited to come camp with us and hang out. And we'll be giving you details about that later in the video, so stick around. I always start a day when we're out on the trail, camping, wherever, with coffee. And when we have this much power in the back of the Jeep, we're going big. I actually haven't tried this yet. This has an 1800 watt inverter with surge capacity up to 2000 something. We'll get you the full specs in a minute. The espresso machine, it's a high power machine. It's only 1500 watts. So I haven't tried this. It makes an espresso. 1500 watts. It's exactly what it said it would use. 1600 with the grinder going. The grinder's not level. Fans are cranking. I can't believe this is working. Like we're doing this as a joke.
Not anymore.
I think Pace is gonna make us take the espresso machine. So when you guys come camping with us in Florida in a little while,
we might make you a coffee.
You'll have to see if we're pulling shots out of the back of the Jeep here. Oh my God, it's working. You can tell we didn't level the Jeep.
Yeah.
Look at it go. 1500 watts, no problem.
You know, I've seen a lot of like how to make espresso videos and stuff. No one ever talks about the importance of it being level. Surely it doesn't matter.
I don't think it does, but we did get,
looks good.
We got a body ahead and a crema. It used about 3% of the battery. So do the math on that. How many shots can we?
I think we have to take this camping.
So they're using high quality lithium iron phosphate battery cells. They're talking about 3,000 full discharge cycles on a battery like this. So the anticipation there is something like 10 years of life of deep cycling the batteries. Its full capacity is 1,056 watt hours, 1,000 watt hours. Which is like about 100 amp hours out of a 12 volt battery. So when you plug this thing into the wall, it recharges with 1,300 watts of power. That can recharge this battery from 0 to 100% in 58 minutes, which is insane. We bought a battery comparable in size to this when we first started the RV build almost 4 years ago. And at that time, charging that thing from a wall outlet was still like an 8-hour charge. So that makes this really cool from an overlanding perspective. It's a lot of power. It can take up to 600 watts of solar, but that's a pretty big solar array to travel with. I think most people, unless you fit some to the roof of your rig, you're not gonna be rolling with that many foldable panels. And if you are, then fine, you don't need to worry about this, because that's still like maybe a 2-hour charge. But what's cool about that is you can stop at a rest area and have lunch in between campsites on an overlanding trip and get this thing totally recharged in an hour. So that makes it, I think, extremely versatile. Look, if you had to sit somewhere for 8 hours to recharge it, and you're camping in the woods like we are here in the National Forest, you can't get a lot of solar, that's really limiting for your battery capacity, but not this one. It's got 6 AC outlets here in the front, which is a lot. Every other portable battery we've used only has 2, maybe 4. This has 6, so it's obviously really geared towards that. It's got 2 USB-C ports, 100 watts, so this would like charge and power day to day like a MacBook Pro laptop, and then a 30 watt, so this would be great for like fast charging a cell phone or something like that. And then 2 USB-A ports. I have right now plugged in our cellular modem. The display's awesome. I've got our LED light strip also plugged into this, and we're using about 9 watts. The display's great. It shows you everything that's turned on, what your power consumption is, and even gives you a time meter here. We've got 27.5 hours remaining at this current discharge rate, which is super handy. It's also got a 10 amp cigarette outlet port, so you can pull about 120 watts off of this, and that's what I've got plugged in right now, is actually our auxiliary fuse panel that we use here in the Jeep that runs this light bar and any other accessories we wire in. We've also got our portable fridge running right now. I actually have this just running off the AC bank because there is only one cigarette lighter port, but the efficiency on that is really, really good. It didn't even use that many extra watts to plug it in that way. Here's something else that's really cool. Did I tell you about this? There's a port here on the side. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. That is an expansion port. You can double the capacity of this battery. So a lot of the other standalone batteries in this size and segment don't have anything like that. It just is what it is. You can buy, it's not quite this big because it doesn't have the screen and the inverter and the charger and all those other things. So it's, I don't know, it sits about, a picture of it makes it look like it's about yay high. Stackable, and you can double the capacity of this up to 2100 watt hours. So that's really awesome. I mean, that's like super versatile to be able to double this. That's like so much more power bank than the entire RV has, as far as usable power. This has about the same amount of usable power as our dual lead acid battery setup in the RV. So I mentioned this earlier, but it's got an 1800 watt inverter with surge power on this surge pad output right here, this one individual one that goes up to 2400 watts. So like that's, you can start some really powerful devices. That would be like stuff with a motor in it, good for a really high powered blender, for, you know, making frappuccinos on the trail, as we all do. Power output's great, 11 devices simultaneously. It also has an app. I can turn on Bluetooth and actually check this out from my phone. This is gonna be really cool when we're driving down the road. I pull up the app, I pull up the Solix, and I can see the actual wattage as it's being used. Oh, and I can actually turn the light off and on. There's a light on the front, did I mention that? We've got 7 watts coming out of the carport, and I can actually turn those ports off and on. So I turn that off, our light bar here turned off. I don't know if you saw that. And I can do the same thing with the AC outlet or the USB ports. The other thing that's really cool is this timer function. I can press the off button and say, run this for an hour. Now, when we're using our Starlink, that's a very power hungry device. We were in Big Bend National Park. It was November, and it was one of the really cold nights out there in the desert. And we decided we were gonna watch Jurassic Park in the tent for Henry because we thought that would help him sleep good at night. And so we're in the tent, in the wilderness, watching Jurassic Park. The Starlink's running outside. It was in the upper third. And like, I was dreading it because I had to get out from the sleeping bag and bundled up in the tent, climb down the ladder, come out to our power bank and unplug the Starlink, or it would drain our batteries all night. And with something like this, not only can I just turn it off with the app, but I can go to sleep and say, turn this off in 2 hours while like YouTube video's uploading or whatever we're doing, and schedule it and not even have to come out here. That's gonna be awesome. We can do the same thing while we're driving down the road. I can look and make sure that the fridge is plugged in. You know, it's like for a person with extreme anxiety, it's a wonderful, you know, you can micromanage the mess out of it. These are some of the outdoor scenarios. We're gonna talk about some of the indoor scenarios. Paige is gonna tell you about that, and she's gonna tell you a little bit about their adventure program. So let's go up top.
So you've seen how we were using the Anker Solix down in the back, but it also has a ton of uses up here in our tent, or if you're in a ground tent, in your tent. First things first, we need to air up our air mattress, and we're gonna use the Anker to do that. Turtle. I know we're supposed to be really chill and like we got this thing and we're influencers, and this is like the 3rd one of these we've had, but like it's so cool. I just still like, I don't know, it's so life-changing, and if people are camping without these, like, you're in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really is cool. We obviously really use this to recharge all of our electronics. Casey works on the road, so he has a laptop, we have iPads, we've got a Nintendo Switch, everyone's got a phone, we have watches. You've seen us travel with all of our many electronic devices.
There's a drone.
There's a drone, oh yeah, and we make the YouTube videos, so there's GoPro batteries, drone, there's the internet stuff, just like so much. And we couldn't do all of that without one of these, so that is super, super, super essential.
We also have a 12-volt heated blanket that we use on cold nights to kind of pre-warm the bed in here. And it'll run that just fine. That runs on the cigarette outlet. But we want to try something different with all this power that we've got.
I should also say, like, on our last trip, as we came out of Big Bend in the end of November, and we got further north, we were very cold, and we were just brainstorming like, how can we do more than just that little heated blanket? What could we do to like warm up the tent for a little while before we go to sleep, or even like before we get out of our sleeping bags in the morning? So this is really exciting to be able to try. It's gonna work?
Yeah. Fan. Sorry.
Oh, that one. Oh my god.
What's that using? 815 watts. 941 watts.
Is this doable?
936. That's
like,
putting out heat, man.
Yeah, is it like okay?
Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing. So like obviously right now our windows are open, it's kind of warm. We don't have the insulation tent.
Oh my god, it's so hot right here.
On those days when it's cold and we have the insulation tent and we have everything like bunked down, like being able to run this for like 5-10 minutes. Exactly. To warm everything up literally is just like gonna change the...
This is coming with us. I want to point out that 888 watts right now, according to the Anker Solix, we can run this for about 9/10 of an hour. We can run this for like 53 minutes, okay? But we don't need to run it for 53 minutes. It's already hot right here. This tent traps a lot of heat. I've been really impressed. If just getting the tent deployed before the sun sets, it gets hot in here. Even if it's 30 degrees outside, when you're making the bed and stuff, you're like sweating. You know, a lot of people take one of those Mr. Buddy propane heaters. We have one of those. We got one. They put it in their tent. They use it in the morning to warm the tent up so they can get dressed.
Oh my god. I was going to call this a fire hazard. There's no way I would put a Mr. Buddy up here.
No way.
No way.
The way that those things, like, a lot of people do it, and I'm like, okay, cool. You're by yourself with, like, maybe a dog and no kids, because, like, there's just blankets and shoes and feet going everywhere. You would totally knock the thing over. This one's cool. It's got a tip over sensor. It turns off as soon as it tips. We can run this for 5 or 10 minutes without using a huge chunk of the battery, and like this tent will be sweltering. So you're not gonna run it all night. I mean, how cool is that?
Very cool. This is a small space. It doesn't take a lot to get it heated, but when it's cold, it's kind of miserable.
I just can't get over how bougie this is, that we have a space heater and an espresso machine in the tent right now.
We're like trying to be ridiculous, and then we're just like, oh, this is life now.
No, I'm like mentally figuring out where this goes in the loadout and the packing setup.
Anker wants us to let you know that you can sign up to be in their Adventure Assembly program if you are a content creator. You can apply in a link in the description. If
you're accepted into the program, they're going to send you one of these C800 or C1000 camping batteries for you to make content with, and you'll be entered to win a dream expedition worth up to $5,000, which is really cool. So Anker was kind enough to send us this Anker Solix C1000 for us to test out and show to you, but that's not all they did. They've invited us out to camp at their booth at the Southeast Adventure Vehicle Expo.
So if you want to see this in person, in our rig and how we're using it in real life, you can come do that.
We'll be there March 1st through 3rd. It's in Starke, Florida.
We'll leave some details in the video description below.
Thank you. We'll be live streaming from the event. Take a look, make sure you get subscribed. Watch our subscription feed for when we schedule it. I don't know the exact date and time. I think it's probably gonna be on Saturday, March 2nd, but I don't know the exact time yet. So stand by on that, keep an eye out for it, and we'll be updating you via the subscriber feed here on YouTube.
If you happen to be at the expo, please come find us and do it in the morning so we can make you a coffee.
Thank you guys, and thanks to Anker for sponsoring this video. We'll see you at the expo here in a couple weeks.